And welcome to Talkward. I'm Marty Dundix, editor-in-chief of Weekly Humorous Magazine, and this is Talkward, a fun little podcast where professionally funny people come to tell awkward and cringeworthy stories. I'm very excited about today's guest. He's an improviser and writer. He performed at the I.O. in Chicago. He's at the UCB in Los Angeles. He is a co-host of Cage Match on Thursdays, and he has a new book out called The Day Job Survival Handbook. Please welcome Matt Visconage to the show. Matt, welcome.
Hello. Thank you so much for having me.
It's very exciting to have you. Also, small tidbit of fun fact. I remember you had a major claim to fame as being a guy in The Onion who is worried that maybe he doesn't have enough guacamole in his burrito.
That's
Is
true,
that correct?
yes. That's correct. I filmed that in 2014, I want to say, and it is posted probably every 3 or 4 years, but it gets like pretty big hits. And in the most recent one that they posted, not to brag, but somebody in the comments, I screenshotted this and sent it to my mom, did say, this man has solved world peace because everybody is on the same side of wanting him to get the guacamole in it.
The
Yeah, I
photo is
just
so funny because the photo is of you and you're eating a burrito and you're like, I
hmm
don't think there's enough guacamole. I haven't gotten to the guacamole part of this burrito. And it's like
Yes,
this evergreen comedy piece that they can keep running forever because it never gets old.
yes, and there's a video of it and the picture. So sometimes they'll just do the video, sometimes they'll just do the picture. But it's really it's like kind of amazing because it's like wow, this is sort of if all of society shut down and that was sort of what I was remembered for, like 1,000 years in the future, when aliens come to check us out, I'd be totally okay with it because the response to it is like near universal. People are like, yes, we agree. It's so right.
Where? Where is my guacamole? Is it in here? Is it all at the end? Where is this amount of guacamole I was promised?
Yes, and that was written by the amazing Jen Spira, who's one of the things on the back of the book. She was just incredible and was like,
The book right here. The book I have. Oh, you have one too,
oh
and
yes, I
I'll
have
put it up.
many.
I'll put it up on the screen for everyone to enjoy. This is the Day Job Survival Handbook, which is out now and is by Matt, and it is um, uh, based on his entire lifetime of working at temp jobs. And so
Yes,
all of the jokes, all of the stuff in this book, it was painfully researched, let's say.
for sure.
Right?
Yeah, a
Would you
lot
say
of
that?
I would say so. Yeah, and I would say not just temp jobs and like just regular day jobs that I had, but I certainly um this is all from like a real well of experience for sure from a lot of different jobs of just sort of things that go right, some things that didn't go right, just like personal experiences I had. And I figured, what better way than to, like I shouldn't keep all that trauma in for myself. I should inflict it on everybody else via this book. Um, no, but yeah, it
Shared
was.
trauma. It's the shared trauma. I think other people are out there, and I think they can feel very seen when they read this book and they go through some of the lessons and the essays and the games and the bingo charts and the challenges. There's lots of challenges in the book where they have to pick a
Yes,
couple of different paths and see what happens because of those paths. So I
yes.
mean
There's a birthday
the
card for
book
Janet that you have to sign. It's very exciting.
there's a lot of little things to do in this book. It's like it's got a bit of an activity angle to it, but mostly it's getting to know your fellow employees at this fictitious company, which is maybe a amalgamation of all of these temp jobs that you worked at called Smart Haven. So Smart Haven
Yes,
is the pretend company that we have here in the book. And what the book is kind of like a welcome orientation for new hires is what you've kind of turned this book into. So it's a comedy book all about these temp jobs that you've worked in these offices and you've had to work with all of these interesting coworkers, let's say, and interesting supervisors. And And these are all the people and the personalities that you see in this cubicle culture, and you put it into this one very hilarious book where we meet all of the people that work at Smart Haven, and it's just this very funny guide of being unemployed and kind of having to apply to all of these jobs and then finally getting an interview and how to interview, and it's great. And along the way, you're being guided by this guy Cog. Now, what does Cog stand for?
Um, Let me check. Wow, it's been so long since I've
Cog
written this
was
book.
Cog was I remember
Corporate
when we
Organization Guide.
that's right. Cog number 760 is the guy that's
Yes.
guiding you in this book. Cog 760.
He's been
And
at Smart Haven for a while, so he's the best type of employee to kind of hold your hand from even before you get hired to all the way to the end of either you get fired or you quit. But
I'm Cog,
he has
corporate
been through it.
organizational guide, employee number 760, or known as quote unquote David. I'm your friendly guide for the survival handbook. And he pops in the entire book. He pops in to help you, guide you through all the different ups and downs of being an employee at Smart Haven. And he's very positive, and he's just always there to kind of lend a helping hand and pick you up off the ground after you've been crying on the bathroom floor in a locked stall during lunch. He's there to help. And is Cog based on anybody in particular at any of these jobs who's maybe been your trainer or
Well,
a mentor?
maybe I think it's a mix kind of like a trainer and me sort of. It sort of is like in I don't know if you're a comic book fan, but in comic books when it's like the future version of someone from like 100 years from now comes back and is trying to change, like help the current day version. That's sort of how I see David. Is like he like me has sort of been through a lot, but I also did take in. I mean, I think I've always been kind of like a quieter person that sort of people watches and listens and what's going on, and that really was pretty helpful for a lot of stuff in this book of just kind of like glomming different experiences that both I had and supervisors have had to kind of make this some characters slightly more specific to like actual multiple people and some others to just sort of like the
when
idea of
when
it.
you finally started writing this book, what 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 job were you at that finally was like the breaking point where you were like, I need to write this down. Like this is it. I need to write this book
Um,
because this job is the one that's going to break me, and I need to mock these people.
well,
Like
what's so funny is I had I actually was at a job when I sort of started writing it that I really liked, but was kind of stressful. Working for I was doing customer service for a shipping company, but it was really the job right before that that kind of completely broke me. That was a customer service representative working for um, a couple different like payment processing jobs, and basically with those, it's like you are truly the only employee that most of these people are ever going to speak to. So you are getting like 100% of their wrath, and I just feel like it having to talk to like 150 people every day, and you're trying to just process. You're basically trying to process a bunch of refunds from it. Um, is like you just I think it kind of wears you down, and it was that plus I had just finished writing a book, co-writing with Scott Dickers, and he said, "Oh well, my um, if you guys totally are able to like make your own books, like I can help to look at them," and that kind of gave me the spark of the idea, and then I started writing it more seriously, kind of like putting little ideas in my notes app, and then it took a while, honestly, to put all the ideas together because it is, while it is kind of somewhat similar to like the Onion books with its sections, it is like has a narrative arc also, sort of. So at times my apartment has kind of looked like the person from the movie Seven, because I just have like different pieces of paper all lined out, and I was like, and this will be Act Three, and this will be Act
I
Four.
mean, there's a big
Um,
there's a big cast, right? So
yes.
this book it has an entire basically an entire office, and that is of Smart Haven. And Smart Haven has a lot of employees, and you did not skimp on talking about and really fleshing out these employees. We have an org chart. I mean, there's a lot of people at this company, and this org chart tells you how much you don't understand how they report to each other. Like there's arrows going from the bottom to the top and to the middle, and a really funny sub part of the book that's very funny is the shadow executives of this company,
Yes.
where I'm sure that this actually happened. You probably had this happen at many of the places you worked, where there was a guy that was like the senior director of sales, executive in charge of this and that, and then there was a shadow director of sales over here, and he's pulling the strings over here quietly, and maybe he's been there for a long time, but he's no longer here, but he's actually making the decisions, and he's making things happen over here in the corner. And so
Oh,
we have a
yes.
whole shadow. We have a shadow CEO
The Shadow
way off to the
CEO,
left,
yes.
and we have the main CEO, and then you have the party sub, which is an important
Yes.
employee at the company, is the 6 foot party sub, and the very dramatic security lead, and and then you have some people that have question marks, and then you have finance way down there. But it seems like there's so many essays and there's so many great personalities in this book. So obviously they're based on real people that you worked with. Do you have any specific memories from anybody like "My life is terrible and I wish I was dead," an essay by David, customer service? Is that from anything direct that you experienced? Are you David? What's going on, Matt?
I think, well, number one, you'll notice that, much like in my improv, there are thousands of characters named David because that seems to be the easiest name I can think of. But that essay in particular is 100% me. That came from like just sitting at my desk working this customer service job, being like, I can't do any more of these refunds. People are like so aggressively mean towards you. But I was like, I
Would you
know,
give people the refunds? Like, what was the company that you were working at
yeah,
that somebody wanted a refund? Like, was this a subscription service, or was this something that people
yes.
got charged and they didn't know they were going to get charged again?
So yeah, it was a little complicated. It was like basically we were the payment processor for a bunch of different like computer programs that all basically had subscription services. So oftentimes it was people who maybe didn't realize that their subscription had continued or something like that, and then we would have to check the internal database from the companies to be like, can we give you a refund or not? I remember specifically one of them was an app that was for like checking to see if your spouse is cheating on you on your phone, but it required you to install it onto their phone, which obviously you can't do. So people would call us and be like, "Hey, this isn't what I ordered. You have to refund it." But then the company that had it had like some insane thing where it was like, if you if you don't put in your return by 72 hours, you can't get a
Yeah.
refund.
Yeah, because they
And
don't want anyone. I mean, this is a thing that they're not going to complain too hard because they're going to get caught spying on their partner, and so it's like, how much can these people really complain considering what they bought? You know what
a
I mean?
hundred
So
percent,
what a
yes. And
scam!
we had
And
another that,
what kind of leverage do people try? Because I'll call in or I'll complain online, and I'll try to get the customer service person, um, and and I think what people do, and what I do, and I'm sure everyone does, and now I know that they were doing it to someone like you, is you try to manipulate them. You manipulate their emotions and you try to get them to side with you, the consumer with the problem. And then
Uh,
I try to get the customer service person to be in it with me. How do we solve this problem together? I know you can do it. Let's work on this together. I have confidence in you, David. How can we get to the resolution I need? Because I'm just a guy with a problem and you want to help me, right? So it's like you do that kind of. Do people try to do that when you were trying to do, like, were they trying to manipulate you emotionally?
yes,
Give
and I
them a
would say
refund?
that is your kind of first mistake because that's the first thing they sort of like grind out of you is any emotion. And honestly, once you talk to 150 people in a day, that after like the 6 month mark, you kind of start to be like, we're not, we're not in this together. I'm an arm of this company. I think the best way, honestly, to that people would try to do that, or they would be like, "Can I speak to your supervisor?" And I mean, I kind of got a lot of pleasure out of sometimes telling them, being like, "My supervisor is going to tell you the exact same thing that I told you because all of our policies are based like it's the company,
Is
the
there really
company."
a supervisor, or is it just you stepping away and then coming back and you're like, "Hi, I'm Tom. I'm the
Okay.
supervisor. What can I do for you?"
Once or twice it was that, with permission from the actual supervisor. Most of the time it wasn't, but most of the time it was like these supervisors did not want to answer the calls because they all had PTSD from when they were my level, and so they were like, just try and resolve it however you can. And the worst people were our fraud department because they're just sort of like inundated with calls of people that thought it was fraud, but actually it was just that they didn't realize that they had signed up for a subscription. So they were always like um, the surliest people you could ever speak to. But yeah, for your bigger question, I think people they'd be like, "Can I speak to your supervisor?" They'd be like, I think sometimes they would try and be like, "Well, how can you work for this company and this company is being so evil." And unfortunately, you get like my very first week I had one or two people where I did stay on the phone with them for like 50 minutes because it was an older person. And I think a more senior rep came up to me and was like, "Don't worry, that happens to everybody. Everybody sort of gets put on the hook the first time, but then you kind of learn to like, we're just here to do the refunds. We're not here."
You
It
get
really is a
hardened.
lot of, yeah,
Yeah.
it's a lot of like just forget yourself. You serve. You truly are like a cog to this company. And I
Is
did have cereal on my desk as well.
did this affect the way that you communicate with people now? Like, are you a shorter fuse now, or are you more understanding or less understanding dealing with people who are
I'm
problems?
just no, I'm just blank inside.
Yeah.
I think I'm more understanding. I think it's made me a lot more understanding with customer service reps. I think that the best way to deal with them is less like, "Oh, we have this problem, let's solve it together." It's more basically understanding that their lives are all driven by customer satisfaction scores, CSATs. So if you can mention that and then can be like, "I will give you a good performance review or whatnot," like that really is the more of the thing that's like incentivized for
Okay.
them.
So the first thing to
And
say is, I'm going to give you 10 stars if we can get this done in
yes,
10 minutes or less.
I'm gonna give this 10 stars. And I think it also helps too if you're sort of you understand like, hey, it's not you're just a representative for the company. You're like the lowest rung here. I'm not mad at you. I'm mad at sort of like the overall problem, and I understand that you're the only person, excuse me, who really can like controls the levers of action
Right.
that I need to happen. Um, but yeah, I think maybe for other places it works more if you go emotional, but for like this payment of a base, it was just like sanded out of us so early to be like,
Was this all on the phone or was this chat?
it was a little bit of chat. I've done customer service jobs before that are phone and chat, and
Okay.
that's kind of its own. thing as well, but it was primarily phone.
So if people are really getting emotional and screaming or crying, you hear them on the phone like getting
For
really
sure.
mad at you. Yeah. Wow.
Yes.
That's not
And
good. That's tough.
I will say that when I hear a phone ring now, I do get a bit of like anxiety similar to like people who have done food service when they
Yeah.
are in a
You
restaurant.
have customer service PTSD.
PTSD, yeah, exactly. Because I'm just like, oh no, it's coming back, it's coming back.
There's an
Um,
ongoing storyline in the book. Well, the guy in the book is going through the motions of being hired and then learning all the ropes and failing and having performance reviews and having a romance with a coworker,
mhm.
and then she dumps him and then they have to keep working by side together, and it's very funny and he's very sad. Have you ever had how much of this happened in the book, Matt? Did you have some
Hmm.
ups and downs like this at different jobs? Do you have some of these emotional arcs that are in these characters?
Uh, yes. Yeah, I think
Was there a
definitely.
Becca? Did you have a executive assistant Becca that you met in real life, Matt?
I think no comment for some of that stuff, except to say that I have yes been in a relationship at a work before that did where we were on the same level. It wasn't like any weirdness there, but yeah, then like
Well, I think we all safely assumed that you were the subordinate if there was a
yes, yeah,
mismatch.
I was the cog for for sure. Um, but yes, I have I the like Becca that sort of worked at that particular company was the inspiration though for the 22-year-old receptionist who then becomes the head of the executive team because I
Mhm.
think I was there for like 4 months and then she started and then I was like immediately paid more than all of us and had like almost no responsibilities except for like planning the like beer garden upstairs while we all had to be like on the phones chatting. It was fun times.
The first thing from this book first started out as a McSweeney's piece. It was a bingo. So I think
Hmm.
it was a holiday party bingo.
Yes, and that too much of this is was inspired by uh, work, but that one especially was inspired by like a couple different holiday parties that I've had where it's like, wow, things just sort of go 0 to 60 so quick. I've seen so many managers that I was like, this is the meanest person I've ever met, and then at the holiday party, they're like so drunk and now so scarily nice to you. Seeing the opposite, or like just seeing people's partners and like seeing everybody's world outside of work, I think is great. And I actually was able to kind of like get the confidence to submit that because I was doing um, training at the time. I was doing like one-on-one coaching work with Caitlin Kunkel, who is the other person on the back of the book. Just to give her a huge shout out. I don't think I would
Caitlin's
have been able
amazing.
to.
Everybody has to
Yeah.
go read all of Caitlin's books. She has
Yes.
books, and then she has some books that are coming out. So you have to follow her.
Yeah.
She's also
So.
a wonderful book club leader. I was in her book club for a
Oh,
couple of
really?
years. Yes, wonderful book club. Great selection of people. Everyone was very smart. Most intelligent people I've ever hung out with. I stuck out like a sore thumb, but it was great.
Yeah. Yeah. I feel like that would scare me because I'd be like, oh, I thought this was just sort of like a wine kind of
I thought we
meetup.
were just drinking and maybe watching Netflix or something.
Hmm.
You're a video game guy, right?
Yes. Hmm.
Did you ever play that Fallout? I'm watching the Fallout on the Amazon, and man, that Fallout is good.
It is. It's very also like oddly similar to the book, I would say, and like some of the like be a good worker. I
Yes,
never
it is.
played.
It is oddly similar. Like some of the cog stuff is very much like that guy that's
Hmm.
like, everything's
Yes.
fine. The whole world is, going under, nuclear winter, but everything's good. If you check in with your vault supervisor, everything will be just
Yes.
fine. And that's very much how this book is, and how a lot of corporate culture is. This should be
For
taught
sure.
at like corporate retreats. I think this would be a great actually, and funny, funny I should segue myself into talking about it. But you recently, I got to attend a stage production of this book that you did at UCB in Los
Yes.
Angeles on Franklin, and it was phenomenal. So the adaptation possibilities for this book are so much fun because you've made so many funny characters in this world that you created at this Smart Haven office, and there were so many characters that you could only fit what, like five in the show that I
Yeah.
saw. And
I
it was still a very fulfilling and funny show, but there's like a bajillion characters in this book. So when you stage that show multiple times, it can be different anytime you do it because there's so many people that you could have in the show.
Yeah, there's a real, it's like an iceberg with that show specifically. I had kind of like the heavy hitters in it, but like you said, there were so many. I was just going through the book before it being like, man, there's kind of like earmarking all these different characters I could have had in it, like party planning committee,
The
all of
party
that.
planner was funny. And
Um,
it's amazing how much they stuck to the script. Like I brought my book with me to the show, and just I was kind of quickly leafing to a section that has the character just to see if it was pretty similar because and it would be almost identical. Some of these monologues that these
yeah,
people were they were reciting these long and they were acting these out and they were acting them out so
yes,
well, and it was so amazing to see them on stage in character. It was crazy. So the show, so the listeners can get in on it because they weren't there, I guess. But they should come when it gets another showing. The show itself makes the audience into the new hires of Smart Haven. So it's like their
yes,
orientation into the company. So the audience is now recent hires of Smart Haven. You're meeting your new supervisors. You're meeting your new, the security guy. You're meeting the CEO does the speech. So it's so genius way to have a show because the audience gets to participate and they get to be like, oh, I'm a new employee at Smart Haven. So I think it absolutely will. I mean, I want to see it again. So we need to work
yeah,
on making that show more. And then even if we were to turn it into a show that is like a video, we could do like a short form show of it. It could be a real show. But there's so much content in this book. Like there's so many people and there's so many like funny stories in the background of these people it's so rich with character and dark levels of personality. And some of the people are so shady and funny. Um,
yes,
and
yeah.
and
I
there's a whole
mean,
section. What would you say is your favorite? Like, did you have stuff on your desk? What are five things that you had on your cubicle desk at one of your temp jobs?
okay, so this is funny. At one of these customer service jobs, I kind of got broken so much at one point. To answer your question, yes, my desk was filled with like characters
Tchotchkes.
and knickknacks and tchotchkes. One of the things I had was I brought in a headshot of myself from was taken in like 2009, I think. I have it at the desk next to me, and I wrote to myself on it. I was like, to myself, you're an inspiration, and I put it on my desk just to be like, is anybody going to notice that this is here? Because I literally one time at work wore a bacon costume for half of the day because my grandmother sent it to me, not for Halloween. She was just like, you used to love bacon, and so I said, okay, I'll just. But I was like, oh, is anybody going to notice this? And then the head of the customer service came over and was like, I love this. Like, everybody should have one of these.
Can we talk about what a bacon costume looks like exactly? Is it like you're wearing a necktie that's bacon, or are you wearing like a full mascot? I'm working for a bacon company and I'm waving at people
You're,
outside.
yeah, you're basically wearing like a suit, like a Halloween costume of sort that's like a hood that looks like a single strip of bacon. Um,
And you wore this
it's
to the office.
yeah, in the office for about half the day, and then it got very hot inside, and I was like, I have to switch out of this bacon costume. But hold on, let me show you actually this framed
I'm
picture.
surprised you didn't move up the ranks with the kind of professionalism
Yeah,
that goes with wearing a bacon costume to the office. So you had this photo of yourself.
Yes.
Okay.
So I had that. That's one. Then I had some like Funko Pops
Mhm.
around because that was I was really into Funko Pops for a couple years. Uh, at least two boxes of like open cereal that that I had because I started to realize I could just put food on my desk. Um, then I had a variety of like post-it notes that just were ideas or like crazy things that customers said that I then pretty quickly threw away and like almost never.
This is all the inspiration for the section of the book
A
called
100%.
Your Lame Desk, and it's just talking about what's on your lame desk.
A
And
hundred percent.
you have a Funko Pop. You have three little ornate glass mushroom headed men. Um, you have porcelain children like the Hummel characters. You have a action figure, which
Hmm.
we have a He-Man here. But what was the action figure that you had on your desk, Matt?
Mine was probably Spider-Man,
Spider-Man.
um,
Okay.
or it may have been like some type of a. This was like right before Endgame, so it may have been like a Thanos type character, maybe.
Hmm.
Um, but yeah, probably Spider-Man, and then lastly, I had a bunch of like I had a few cards too from like friends and families that had been
Hmm.
there that kind of made it feel a little bit less prison cell y to be like, this is the outside, this is what you're working for, which is kind of also inspiration for another one of the articles, which is like 5 picture frames that you can slowly put your hand down to and say, you're doing this for them. Was
There's a
something I
section of the book
frequently did.
there's a section of the book that's very funny that touches upon some of your supervisors actually running multi-level marketing schemes on the side of
Yes.
their regular jobs at the office. Is this something that happened when you were working at an office?
Um, so not like that was a bit made crazy ties. Wasn't like level marketing, but we definitely had a lot like very intense tribalism of like Girl Scout cookies. It was like
Girl Scout cookies is
one.
major business
Yes,
in
the
in
finance person
offices.
in woman in finance. It was decided like her daughter is the Girl Scout cookies person, and until she ages out of the system, it was like nobody else can sell Girl Scout cookies. Nobody else can sell that. And then we had a few times where there was like an upstairs space where there was coffee because it was like a cool office. And they would sometimes invite like local charlatans to come and like put on their little. It was like mostly yoga, but I think once or twice it was like somebody trying to do like an MLM sales thing, but we, the customer service people, were never allowed to go there because of the contracts all these companies had. They have to have customer service 24/7, which means that there always has to be somebody um, on the phone, so we could never leave whenever there was like a company party or anything. They would very sadly sort of wheel the beers to us and be like, "You can have one," um, because there was a couple people who once had a few too many, and then they were like telling off customers, and they had to be like, "Okay,
No
we're
one's
putting
getting
you on."
refunds, or everybody's getting refunds.
Yeah.
That's funny.
Um, yeah, it was, and at one of these particular jobs, it was like every Friday. This is what tidies is. Tidies in the book is like um,
Yeah,
getting
let's
people to
explain
clean up.
tidies real quick. So in the
Yes,
book, Becca is excited to tell everybody about tidies. And she's
yes,
selling it like it's this great, awesome thing that they should be very excited to do. And
yes.
I'm trying to find it. Do you remember what the acronym for tidies was? Let me
Yeah,
see
I'll
here.
bring that up.
Because Becca at the live show did it so well when she was explaining to
Yes.
everybody, the new recruits, what tidies was.
Shakira, yeah. Everybody from I just want to give a huge shout out. Everybody that was in. It's on page 114. Um, it stands for Team Investment During Your Sanitation. So everybody, all my performers, I did for the most part kind of like copy and paste and do some editing changes from the book into the show, and I'm was so grateful that they did it because it was a lot of information. But this one in particular, the tidies, is based on a job that I had where it wasn't called the tidies, but it was like really was treated as if it was like, oh my God, you congratulations, you're this month's like you're in charge of this, and it always was like you get to take out the trash or you get to. The big thing was like there was
Congratulations, you've been picked to clean the office for us.
yes.
Isn't that great? And you're like, what?
No,
This
yeah,
is
the big
my job
thing
now?
was like, oh, we have a beer cart that we push around every Friday, and customer service was only allowed one beer because of the past incidents. So one of the jobs you could get was like, you get to push around the beer cart, and
Everybody loves the beer cart guy. Everybody loves the
yes,
beer cart guy.
and then you have to be
So
like really strict with like, I can only give you
so
one.
so tell me one cringeworthy, horrible story that you had in an office workplace that has stayed with you, like an interaction or something really weird that happened at an office, in maybe the office kitchen, or at an office event, or at an office holiday party. Like, what's a weird interaction that happened that sounds like it couldn't have happened, but it happened at work?
Okay, so I was a temp for a little bit um, at a company in Evanston, and it was like within the first 2 weeks, a woman who was the head of one of their departments, who was like one of the most beautiful people I've ever seen, and like every time they spoke to me, I was kind of like, is there someone behind me that you're speaking to? But there was at one point where she was like, "Oh, come with me. Let's go down to the basement to like check out some free swag that they have for us." And I was like, "Okay, sure, cool. We can
You're
totally
like,
do
great,
it."
I will go anywhere with you. I will
Yeah.
go anywhere.
Um,
I will go to a
and,
dark basement. Sure, let's
and we
go.
picked it out and like got swag and stuff, and it's only been in like years afterwards that I realized all of that time of like, oh, this person was trying to like they were flirting with me. Like they rode the train all the way back with me at the end of the day and like invited me down, and like we were trying to like move in between these clothes, and the whole time I was like, this feels really cringeworthy. Like, why are we so close? And then I was like, oh, this person was kind of trying to hit on me. I think a better one though, because that's you said cringeworthy, and that ended too well for me.
I mean, that's not
Um,
cringeworthy as much as it is just like a lost opportunity of love, and somebody that was so beautiful that you didn't expect them
what
to
could
ever
have
like
been?
you.
What could have been? Yeah. I think there was a holiday party at the same job that had this like the tidies type thing, and one of the managers who was like pretty strict. She at the party got so drunk that she was like initiating. It was a pretty small area, but she was like initiating dances in like the dance circle. And then I had heard later, once I had left the company, that like there was another holiday party where there was some sort of hooking up where it was like her and a subordinate, and then that like ended it. But it was the type of thing where it was like this person's personality just changed 100% as soon as they got drunk, and it was a little bit like, we're we're sort of locked in here with you. Um, And
Terrible.
yeah, I think
Did you ever have any situation where there was an actual battle about people stealing your lunch? Because that comes up in the book a bit. The
it
guy that's
does.
very, very angry about if you take his lunch, he will like cut you.
Yes, it was. I didn't have anything in regards to lunch, but I did have something in regards to
Is that because nobody wanted your open boxes of cereal?
that's yeah. Well, I kind of smartly, I would say, the open boxes of cereal and the framed photograph of myself, I think, made people think that their whatever food I was eating, they didn't want to partake in. Um, so it really worked for me. But there was
Whatever this guy's got, I don't want it.
exactly. There was a washing machine in the one of the break rooms where there was coffee, and they kept putting up more and more aggressive signs that were like, "Make sure you take all of this out of the washing machine. Like, make sure you do it." To the point where one of the tech people put a fake camera up, and then a picture that was just like one single eye and was watching, and people complained so much that then there was like a company wide email that was sent that was just like, that camera wasn't plugged in. We're gonna take it down. But like, everybody, let's try to be better with the dishwasher. um just ridiculous in general, because it's like we had two different people whose entire job it was to take care of the facilities, and like you would think that would include kind of some
No, not
dishwasher
not
stuff.
when you're relying on the tidies. I mean, that job
No.
could go to anybody who gets picked by Becca.
Yes, but it was
Yeah.
very much sort of a like, hey, we're all in this together, so let's make our space all the more better. And it was like, I don't think we are in this, but
I
that
think the best
definitely
thing
was
also
like,
in the book, one of the best things that was performed and is in the book is when the CEO is talking to everybody about apologizing for something terrible that he had done, and the way that
yes,
you use language in his speech is so funny because what you just did there, where everything is about us and I'm helping us get through this horrible thing that I caused, though
yes,
we caused it together. If you really think about it, and just like that way that you create that language is so corporate speaky. So I'm guessing that that came from experience.
yes. I've had multiple bosses, or I guess CEOs of the company, who like there's some kind of a financial issue, and it's always like, we need to do better, or like, oh, our family, we do this, and it's some sort of issue that like only they could have dealt with. Like at one of these companies, the CEO is the one who's signing these companies we were doing payment processing for, and one of the those companies, it turned out, was like a scam that was taking people's money. So we all got an email that was like, hey, let's um, we won't be having them as a client anymore, but like, you know, let's all try and be really careful and like paying attention. And it's like, I don't. That's not what I should be doing. This is your job. Um, but just yeah, so many. I feel like that's a prerequisite to be a CEO at like a major corporate job, is you have to know how to give an answer that's like, um, yes, but also no, and also you did that.
It's like the accountability becomes when they want to get the money and the accolades, it's my good judgment. But when there's something
Yes,
terrible that happens, it becomes a shared experience and we have to do better.
exactly. Yeah, and we all now have ownership, and like we now all have to unload the dishwasher, or the camera will be will be put back. Um,
Something that was funny that you mentioned was, do you think in workplaces, do you think people are just making it up as they go along? I feel as a person who has gotten older, in this world. I think when I was younger, I always thought people knew what they were doing. And as I've gotten to be an older person, I realized that most of us don't really know what we're doing and we're sort of doing it on the fly. So I think so many people are improvising their jobs and
Yes.
they're just trying to get through the day and dealing with people and things. So in your experience at all these corporate type jobs, are you seeing that people are more or less just kind of winging it?
100%. I think there are some departments where it's like for the customer service stuff, there are set things like you have to be able to do and know how to do. But I think once you get further up and there's less direct accountability, yeah, it is kind of like I guess I need to sort of make jobs for myself. And I was the exact same way of um, being like, okay, all my elders at this job, they know exactly what they're doing. But then you talk to some people and they're like, yeah, I don't, I've just sort of used this same trick and I've been here for 20 years. I think definitely most people do have to kind of make it up. I also think the nature of like corporate and corporateese is so ever changing that unfortunately you kind of have to be constantly improvising because so often the people in charge kind of have no idea what they're doing and they're just sort of
Yeah.
chasing the shiny object of let's make as much money as we possibly can, that you have to be like, okay, I guess my job is this
It's
now.
you know, who needs this book more? The people who it's their first job or the people who have been trapped at that office for years and years and years? Because there's
Mm,
two different types of people in this book that you have the new person, and then you have people who have been there for like 50 years, and their
yes.
stories are like the darkest and the saddest and the funniest.
Yeah. You know what? I'm gonna, in my typical bad boy fashion, I'm gonna break the rules a little bit and say my answer is both. I think it's for both of them because, much like I was saying earlier about like you from 1,000 years coming back, it's kind of a snake eating its own tail. Like the younger and the older, it's all just the sort of shades of the same color. So I think you need it going in, and you also need it to like keep yourself sane once you're in it. Like for example, one of the tricks I have in the book of like how to make your shift go faster. So much of that was like truly me at this job, like counting the clock minutes and like making that into a race for myself and being like, what, two, three, four, um,
So
which is much funnier.
just counting the seconds in a minute
Yes, and that's
is how
much
how
funnier
you
in the
do it.
book than the like sad reality of just seeing like an adult man counting to himself at work to be like, I just got to get through this.
What would you say is the number one tip you would tell somebody in like 5 words? I'm going to get a new corporate job and I'm going to be a customer service representative wearing a headset. What are you telling that guy before he goes in for his first shift?
Um, I think accept you're not in control. Hey,
Pretty good.
um, wow, okay, I got it right. That'll be book two.
Happy book
But
too.
I do think it is that like you kind of have to. I think really just humble yourself because unfortunately, many jobs, especially entry level stuff, it's like you really are doing the grunt work, and maybe in the future you'll get to something better. But like you need to either be able to turn off your brain and just follow what they're doing, or find another career that does it. Because trying to like find what the logic is behind what some thoughts are, it's like you're never gonna. They don't know what the logic is, so you kind of have to like have your brain in work mode, and then you can turn it back on after uh, for like a
Tips.
soul sucking day job, I would say.
These are good tips from Matt, who has had to live it, and now he's written it in his new book, The Day Job
Hmm.
Survival Handbook, which is available now. Everybody needs to go out there and pick up this book right now. Here it is on the screen. It's completely guided by Cog, who helps you through your fate of this horrible day job existence that Matt has created after years and years and years of toiling away at dead end jobs. Just the day job survival handbook. Go out there and get it now by Matt Visconage. Visconage.
Visconage.
Visconage. I think your name comes from, in my mind, I keep thinking of the Visigoths of like this the like European
Yes, from
uh,
the
uh
musical Pippin.
no, not the musical Pippin. I'm thinking the Visigoths are from like the Hun
Visigoths.
era.
Yeah, but I think they mentioned it then too. The name sounds
Do they
familiar.
do they mention it in Pippin?
Yeah, I think Pippin and Visigoths. It's one and the same.
I think of them as like almost like Vikings.
mm, yeah, I think it was sort of a thing where it was like my ancestor had somehow an even harder name to pronounce, and then they kind of Ellis Island it to be like, oh, Visconage will be easier, but
They're
it
like
does.
Visconage would be so much easier, and everyone's like,
Yeah,
really?
everybody thinks it's either French or they're like, it's a real open question, I guess, of like, what is the last name?
And what is it from? Is it Hungarian?
Yes, it is Carpathian Russian. So like
I'm
those
Hungarian too.
mountain. Yes, yeah. And that's I think part of why we work together so well is we
It
have
is,
that.
and that's why we eat so much of the smoked meats together.
Yes,
You know,
for
you
sure.
got to have
And
the Hungarian sausage, and you have to have the green peppers, and then you put a little salt on it. Delicious. Also, the smoked bacon. You just big, huge clumps of just smoked fat. That's where you eat
oh
that, and you
yes,
take that, you spread that on a little piece of bread. It's a Hungarian delicacy right there.
yeah.
Also, chicken paprikash. We like our chicken paprikash. I'm guessing that you don't eat chicken paprikash, Matt. Come on.
I've not heard of it, but I love the name. It sounds.
Haven't heard of it. Oh man, it's
No,
delicious.
I'm sort of more of a bandwagon Hungarian. I've only recently learned about my Hungarianism, so I'm still
Well,
kind of
next time I
learning.
see you, I'm going to give you a thing of smoked paprika because smoked paprika has to go on literally everything you eat from now on.
Okay,
All right,
understood.
deal.
I'll do that.
All right, good. Well, it's been good talking to you. You got to go pick up this book. It's the Day Job Survival Handbook, and this is Matt, and you have to follow Matt. Where are they going to follow you, Matt? What is your handle on all
Uh,
platforms?
Instagram is at Matt Visconage, and that's the main one that I use.
We got to see you at UCB in LA on Thursdays in Cage Match.
Yes, every Thursday, 10 p.m. UCB Franklin. I'm one of the co-hosts of Cage Match, and then I do other stuff at the theater as well. And hopefully, we'll get some more shows of this day job survival show. But if not, we're gonna find a way to continue
Oh yeah,
it in
definitely
live.
putting this on stage someplace. It's going to be great. So everybody be checking out for that, and you can follow along and subscribe to Talkward Podcast and follow us at Weekly Humorous. And we'll see you next time. Hey, thanks for listening. Thanks for coming on, Matt. And we'll
Thank you
talk
so
to you.
much for having me.